Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Who the Hell Asked, the review edition. I'm your host, Slade, along with.
Hey, it's me, Byron. What's up?
And today we are going to review the release of Mario Party Superstars for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, we're basically gonna give like our first impressions and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so some bit of background for both of us. We were both very excited for this game when it got announced, though we had that, kind of sense of cautious excitement. Like, Mario Party hasn't been what I would call very good in a long time.
Yeah.
I think we both agree that Mario Party Superstars, while being a step in the right direction, still wasn't quite what we were looking for from the series.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Super's good, but this game.
Yeah, so without any further ado, let's kind of get underway. We're going to section this into kind of three different parts. First, we're going to talk a bit about the boards. Then we're going to talk about what we think of the mini games, and then, we're just going to wrap it up with the general review overall. So, Byron, what do you think of the board, since I know you've played all of them already?
Yeah, so the first one was actually the first one that we both played. We played on launch day over on a friend of ours, Steelers Twitch channel, along with a guest of the show, Yoshi Phoenix. We played on Woody Woods, which I think is still probably my favorite board of the five.
Yeah, but say I definitely enjoyed that game overall. I think in terms of the board itself, I think it's really interesting that the I know they're called event spaces, but I'm going to default to calling them happening spaces.
Yeah, we're so used to calling them happening at this point.
I think it's really interesting that it only flips the mold that's in front of your character, not all of them on the board now, so you can't intentionally or unintentionally fuck it up for somebody that's all the way on the other side of the board.
Yeah, because in the original, it flipped everybody. It flipped all of them. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And in this game, it doesn't. And a cool detail I like on the map, it has like the colored arrows depending on like which direction the moles are in. That's, I think, a nice touch.
Yeah, so that was just something that I thought was a nice touch. I don't know if I'm like 100% a fan of it overall, because like you could strategically make plays to land on like the happening space in the original and affect somebody across the board overall, but like
Yeah.
you didn't have the ability to select exactly which number you would roll like you do in this Mario Party. So I imagine that probably would have been too powerful.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Especially with how easy it is to hold the stars hostage with a chomp call, as we found out.
Yeah, because if you don't know, chomp calls are 7 coins, I believe.
Yeah, that is a definitely strange decision considering the amount of power they give you. I feel like at the bare minimum they should be 15 coins, but
Yeah. I would think 10, but that's just me. But yeah, like they should be higher price for sure.
well, I think, and this is just a generalization term overall, I think all the items should be not all of them, all the powerful items should be priced up quite a bit more, simply because it's really easy to come by coins in this title, from what I've noticed.
Yeah, and that's I'm gonna say this for I think every board in this game. They needed to cut down on the amount of lucky spaces by at least a third.
Yeah, the amount of lucky spaces is actually quite ridiculous. Like, it's almost like you're achieving something by not landing on them versus like actually landing on them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's just
absolutely.
something that I noticed overall. But outside of that, I think Woody Woods itself was a really good board, and I think they did a really good job kind of remastering all these boards. And once again, having an actual 3D environment instead of like the 2D background.
Yeah.
It just looks so surreal and stunning, and then you hear that Mario Party 3 music just playing in the background. It's so good.
Yep. Oh yeah, and speaking of music, something you can do, you have to play every board once to unlock this feature, but you can choose between modern and classic music, and I love it.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a 10 out of 10 change because obviously you're getting the updated scores that the composers put together and whatnot. And alternatively, if you want that bit of extra nostalgia factor, which this game has a lot of nostalgia built into it.
Well, it's basically nostalgia the game,
Yeah, it's a
but
nostalgia trip, the whole thing.
yeah,
But being able to swap between the two was definitely a very pro consumer choice overall.
yeah.
Like they're just
Well, and something I think a lot of remasters should do more often.
oh yeah, absolutely for sure. And I think that's something that to me kind of raises the bar for if they ever do something similar with like a Mario Sports title or like a Mario Kart kind of collection of old stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so
overall, we
well,
both think Woody Woods is pretty cool. The moles mechanic is about the same where it was. The key door on the bottom has flipped directions from where.
it was in the original.
Yeah, so I think that was an interesting choice. I don't know if I'm quite a fan of it because I feel like with all the custom dice that the game gives you, you could easily set yourself up for going which one of the two ways you want.
Yeah.
So I feel like the key door ultimately does nothing guaranteeing the ability to go right. Especially when I feel like the meta play, if you're not like in star contention or whatever, trying to get to like boo and whatnot, is to go left anyway, because that's where most of the more powerful spaces outside of chance time are.
Yeah.
So that's just something that I thought was pretty interesting. But overall, Woody Woods is a very good board and a super great callback.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and go on to the next board, Byron.
Yeah. One I have played on a surprising amount. Horrorland. Oh yes, Horrorland.
And so far, that one seems to be a fan favorite. I imagine
Yeah.
a lot of it's the Halloween, festivity going on right now. But
Yep. So a change that they made from this one to is I think there is one additional bank spot and I think an additional boo on the map. Which is an
yeah,
interesting-
so they have a daytime boo and a nighttime boo cycle. That's really interesting.
Yeah, because the new boo is added towards the bottom left of the map behind a key gate.
All right, so talk to me, Byron. What do you think about like how it looks and whatnot?
Oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, especially the nighttime version. It's so good. Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, honestly, it looks incredible. Shame I haven't gotten to play it yet, but really just the boards overall, with like remastered, just all look absolutely like fantastic and incredible. Pretty much like what you would imagine the 3D cut environments of like modern technology would actually look like with the actual backgrounds and whatnot.
Yeah, my one gripe about this board, and it's a very minor gripe. At nighttime, as you see on the screen here, there are the womps that are like cursed by night magic, and you can't pay to move the womps at night. You still apparently are able to select to go the direction that womp is. I find that a little strange, but that's a pretty minor nitpick.
Yeah. So you mentioned the added bank space, and there was something that I found was really interesting was they reduced the amount of coins the bank would take from you from 5 into 3.
Yes, so it is 3 coins until the last 5 turns, which goes back to the traditional amount. And considering the coin economy in this game, which, yeah, it's almost, if not more on like a super level of like being broken at times, like you're gonna have money for the most part. I think it should have been 5 all the way, but that's just me. What do you think, Slade?
I am with you. I think it should have been 5 all the way. But here is the counter argument to that, because I do think that it might have been a deliberate balance choice by the dev team versus, just making it to where everyone gets more coins and everyone's happier.
Yep.
Because of the amount of custom dice this game throws at you, it actually throws a lot at you. It's pretty ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that is true.
It's much easier to call your shot when you want to land on the bank space, and by only having it 3, they're making it to where you don't get a ridiculous amount of coins.
Yeah, that's
whenever
very
somebody feels like bank cashing out and calling their shot. So
yeah, because I think I did that at least once in our Woody Woods game.
Oh yeah, I did it as well, but it was because it was like literally the only play I could make to guarantee enough coins to get a star, and then buy the star the next turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just something that I was thinking about in terms of balance and design philosophy, because I imagine if that was like 5 or like 10 coins or like a crazy amount of money, then people would just be aiming for those spaces left and right instead of like all the other spaces that do things.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of didn't even consider that, but yeah, you're right on the money on that one.
Yeah, so for those of you watching the video, you'll notice that we're kind of changing the background music to match which board we're talking about, but I was a little late on the draw there, so don't kill me.
But yeah, that's Horrorland. It's definitely going to be a fan favorite board, especially considering the time it's releasing. And hilariously, we are recording this episode on Halloween night.
Yeah. So maybe we should get a game of Horrorland Mario Party tonight, Byron. Ooh.
Maybe.
Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our next board. I'm thinking we go on to Peach's birthday cake.
Yes! So this board was a board that had a lot of radical changes to it. So, in the original, before you were able to get the star, which is at the top of the birthday cake, you had to go to the Goomba Seed. And Slade, explain for the people what the Goomba Seed does.
Actually, is this where there spawns the piranha plant that could either steal coins or star based on how much money you give it? Yeah.
Yep. There's that, but there is the Goomba lottery, the Goomba Seed lottery. In the original game, you had to choose between a blue seed, a red seed, a yellow seed, or a green seed. 3 good seeds. 1 seed would take you to Bowser, and you'd basically lose, I think, 30 coins? If memory serves me correctly. They changed that so that you don't have to take on the Goomba lottery until after you get the star. Great change. Great change, right?
Absolutely, because I think that was one of the things that made the board kind of, quote, suck in the original Mario Party, was having to play the lottery right before you got to the star, and there wasn't any way to plan what would happen or, really just solidify yourself as the lead. I think Mario Party's, the original, that is, initial problem was it felt like the boards were designed to continuously kick people while they were down and continue to kick them.
Yeah.
Versus, how Mario Party is, nowadays, where it's now everyone would I think there needs to be a bit more of a balance to it. They gotta find somewhere in the middle, but if you ask me, I prefer how it is now compared to, how it was. And, the series done a lot of growing since then. I think this game's very reflective of that.
Yeah, and speaking of items in Mario Party 1 boards, that's kind of interesting. That's very interesting to play on. This and Yoshi's Tropical Island, it's interesting to have items now. You have a bit more strategy on these boards.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely, super fascinating when you look at, the fact that the original obviously didn't have items and whatnot. So now you have people, with the custom dice box calling their shots or getting the warp pipe to just skip straight to the star instead of running the lap like you initially would. I think that was part of the reason why you and I were both hoping instead of getting 2 Mario Party 1 boards, we'd get 1, and then we'd get 2 Mario Party 3 boards instead.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily, a bad thing they went with two Mario Party 1 boards. I think they've done enough to rebalance the boards and make them interesting with the item play. So
Yeah. And yeah. So speaking of Yoshi's Tropical Island, the board that probably got the least amount of changes out of any of the 5 boards. It plays, if you've played Yoshi's Tropical Island before, it's the same. If you haven't, here's the gimmick. Bowser is on one side of the board, Toadette is on the other. If you had happening space, a fish will chew up Toadette and spit her out to the other side, and Bowser will go to the side that Toadette was on. So it's a constant battle of like, okay, which of the 2 sides of the board do I go over to? And then there's the pay thwomps, which are like the troll toll. You gotta pay to pass the troll toll. I think this is honestly the weakest board. It's a tough call between Peach and Yoshi for weakest board in this game, but that's just like a lot of the 1 boards probably would have been like weaker compared to 3.
yeah, I think to nobody's surprise, we knew the Mario Party 1 boards would probably be on the weakest end overall. That was the main criticism of the original game, after all. Even with the efforts to, kind of rebalance it. And again, now we have items, so that kind of adds another element that wasn't, there in the original. But
Yep.
overall, that doesn't mean we think the boards are bad. It just means that they're less good than, the other boards that we have. So
Yeah. And the final board, good old Spaceland. I think this was the first board we saw for Superstars ever. And
yeah,
I
think you're right there. I think it was either Spaceland or Peach's birthday cake.
yeah, and they did a pretty good job with this one. It has one feature that I wish the other boards that aren't the Mario Party 1 boards have, and that is they have a little pedestal platform. You can kind of see it in the image here on screen for the board, but you see those little like platforms that shows where the star could pop up next. And I think Horrorland should have had something like this, and Woody Woods should have had something like this. I don't think either of those two have something similar to that.
Well, I know they have, little indents that show where the stars could be at, because they show all the possible star locations for where Toadette could stand at. But, that being said, it doesn't tell you exactly where it'll appear next. Which I think that actually is something that I'm surprised that this game didn't do, because I feel like that could be an interesting, gameplay dynamic for, like, players. Like, instead of, like, randomizing where the star appears, or, like, maybe, obviously they still randomize it, but once the star is placed, they could, like, here's where the next one will spawn, and it'll kind of create a decision for players, be like, okay, do I go try to race to this star that somebody is already well on his way to getting? Or do I set myself up for, like, the next star? So,
Yeah.
definitely something that I thought the game could have did, but not saying it was necessarily required either. I think trying to, like, guess the logic of where it's going to put next is also something that's really fun and fascinating.
Yeah.
But, back to Spaceland.
Yeah, back to Spaceland. It's got all the usual trinkets. Few things I don't like about the board. Why are the 2 chance time spaces next to each other? And behind a skeleton key door. I hate that. They needed to move one of them at least to like the main part of the board.
I think they did that because, like, they wanted people to deliberately choose to go for chance time rather than, like, oh, I happened to cross it, and like, I feel like when you deliberately get a chance time to try to ruin someone else's experience, it makes the whole fragile friendships thing that we love the Mario Party series for, like, even more real.
Yeah, that's true. I just think they either that or they could have added like a 3rd chance time space on the board.
Yeah, somewhere that you'd have to deliberately go for if you wanted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, we both agree that the board play is fantastic. Not the strength of the game by any means, but still like amazing overall, especially compared to Super.
Yeah, yeah. So we have some just other thoughts on stuff like some of the item store mini games. I know that's a big one in Mario Party. So Slade, what are some of your like just random like other thoughts about this game?
Okay, so I guess before we go into minigames, we'll talk about like some of the other features they could use on the board, like stickers and whatnot. Byron here is a notorious hater of the stickers from Mario Party Super. And I think, and this is just my opinion, Mario Party Superstars has an amazing selection of stickers that you both start with and you can go out and you could buy with your points from like leveling up and whatnot and your coins.
I will say I like I'm not the biggest proponent of like taunting and stuff, but like if you use like a taunt or a sticker like at the right time, it can make a funny moment even funnier. That's my general stance on that. Like having the feature is fine. I think you should be able to have a toggle to turn it on and off, whether it's taunting or the stickers. But yeah, you can use a taunt or a sticker to make a funny moment even funnier. And I do like the look of all of these stickers. They look gorgeous.
Absolutely. So I think overall as I said, the extra features, because I also know that, like Byron said, you can switch between the music and whatnot. I guess before we get into the minigames, we'll talk about some of the features of like being able to see, records for, all the different types of minigames and competing for records. Though I think there's a bit of an asterisk there for some of them because from what I've seen, you can pause in a lot of minigames and possibly pause buffer.
Oh,
things.
pause. What is this, speed running now? We got pause buffering in Mario Party? Jesus.
Yeah, and it basically, to me, it trivializes mini games like the jump rope one and whatnot, where you could kind of just, take a break and pause whenever you want to get back into it. Because I feel like, ultimately, pausing is cheating when you're trying to compete for minigame records.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
And I feel like it's going to be easy for players to kind of just like, oh, what if you're not very good at the jump rope? That's okay, because after it goes fast, you can just pause buffer to see when it starts to slow down or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessarily a very good feature. But I mean, outside of that, let's back to what I was saying. It's really cool that they have leaderboards and records for all different types of mini games and
absolutely.
whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. That is an incredible idea. If you're going to have an online Mario Party, you should have a way to play the minigames by themselves and have leaderboards for the minigames. So,
yeah.
Great job, Nintendo. Great job on that.
Yeah, 20 billion thumbs up there. It definitely, to me, is probably the best feature of this game overall. Provided, the pause... You have to do something about pausing, in my opinion. Either that, or when you play offline, those don't count towards the records versus playing online.
Yeah. Also, speaking of online, you could play online. You could play the boards online. And,
yeah. And we're talking like full games, and the cool thing is you could save your progress, come back to the game later with your same group of friends if it crashes or if something happens.
Yep. I have had nothing but a great experience. I have played, I think, 4 games online, and with the exception of like some random hiccups and like a couple mini games here and there, like I know I had like a few random hiccups in like a round of Book Squirm, but it's been pretty good actually.
No, I think the online experience for the most part is like 95% fantastic. They couldn't have done a better job. Unfortunately, there's so many games that require very strict timing, like the baseball home run derby one, for instance, where I just feel like those kind of mini games don't translate well to online.
Yeah. But again, other than that, been a fantastic online experience so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So now to the mini games themselves, because we were kind of talking about the online experience, the other features with the records and whatnot. I think for the most part, they picked the best minigame selection that they possibly could have. And this is, in terms of like any Mario Party, this is the best collection of minigames in one Mario Party game throughout the entire series, and it's not close.
Yeah, like top 100, like top 100 had some choices I would have brought back for this game, but and maybe there were like a few like 8, 9, and 10 mini games that should have been in here.
Yeah.
Or another complaint, there should have been more dual mini games, and maybe like a couple more item mini games.
I feel like for the dual mini games, they really played into Mario Party 3.
Yeah, there were. I think there's only 5 dual mini games in this whole game,
and I'm pretty sure 4 of them are from Mario Party 3, aren't they?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I personally don't have a problem with it because, spoilers, I think Mario Party 3 is the best game in the franchise, really only rivaled by 6.
Yeah.
But that being said, I agree. I think there should be, more dual minigames like Byron was stating. I also think another thing is it feels like there should be more 1-on-3 and 2-on-2 minigames. I feel like they went all out for the free-for-all minigames.
Yeah. Well,
and the other minigames were kind of a bit of an afterthought.
Yeah, because, like, you rarely run into 2v2s. 1v3s, you can get those easily.
Yeah, it's actually insane. And I think part of that is the lucky space. I'm going to call it an epidemic. It's spreading and it's everywhere.
There's too many of them. There's too many damn lucky spaces.
I think if they replace some of those lucky spaces with just normal blue or red spaces, even.
Yeah.
Like the game would be a lot better for it because, maybe I want to play dungeon duos with my buddy Byron and whatnot at least once a game or something like that.
Yeah. Try to deal with those floatier jumps on that minigame.
Yeah. But overall, I think that, like I said, the minigame selection is the greatest it has ever been. And possibly the greatest it ever will be.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretty good minigames. A lot of my personal top 10 minigames are in here.
Oh, yeah. I'm with Byron 100%. I think a lot of my top 10, if not all of my top 10, made the list.
Maybe one day in the future we'll do a Super Mario Party Superstars minigames tier list. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. That would definitely take a while. And the thing is, because of like the minigame selection being so good, I feel like 90% of it's going to end up in A or S tier. If we do that video. And really, the video will just turn into us talking about the ones we don't like. Which...
Yeah.
As I said, they could not have done... if we're complaining about 8 or so many games, I don't even know how many we're complaining about. It feels like very few. Compared to the other fucking 90-something.
Yeah.
Even if we think there's 8 minigames we could replace those with, it still feels like nitpicking because there's so many fantastic fucking minigames.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's have a few actually first off the hub world. The hub world of this game being exactly like the Mario Party 1 hub. I think that's a cool little nudge nudge wink wink and nostalgia right there.
Yeah, as I said, the whole game is just a huge nostalgia trip for anybody that's been a big fan of the series since its inception, all the way back in the Nintendo 64. And I feel like the 64 especially is where most of the nostalgia kind of runs rampant for.
Yep.
But
yeah. So let's get a few complaints in here about this game. Oh boy.
Okay, a few complaints. So we've already briefly touched about the lucky spaces, but it's worth saying a third time. There's too many lucky spaces. They need to replace them with, some red spaces. Because I think red spaces there needs to be more of those too.
Yeah.
But also some regular blue spaces as well.
Yeah. Speaking of spaces, the versus space, which is the battle minigame space, I don't think those should go away. IMO.
Yeah, I think those should be permanent. And I also don't think they need to give your player 3 coins before the game. So, though I don't have too much of a problem with it because I guess it gives everybody the ability to actually donate to the freaking minigame.
Yeah, and I think the only reason they do that is because, like, oh, it's going to turn into a blue space.
And also, with the coin economy being as crazy it is, which we'll get into that a bit later, I feel like the battle minigame should 100% go to 50. I understand that would probably swing, the coin star, and that's probably why they didn't do it in terms of game balance.
Yeah, but, like, because, you can do 20 coin, 30 coin battle minigames. 30's the most I've seen on the roulette. But yeah, 50 coin should at least be, like, on there. Like, get rid of the 3 option. Make it 7, 10, 20, 30, 50. Maybe add a 25 option.
I'm actually more of a proponent for the classic battle minigames between 5, 10, was it 25, 35, 50?
5, 10, 20, 25, 30, 50.
Okay, that's what I'm a proponent of, because
I would be fine with that. Yeah, I would absolutely be fine with that.
Because I feel like the whole purpose of the battle minigames to begin with was to be like super impactful and kind of give that wow factor, like that could completely swing the board and kind of keep it always interesting for the most part. Whereas now it just kind of feels like, oh, I got a battle minigame. Oh, it's only 3 coins. Who cares?
Yeah. Another thing I got to complain about: mount mini games. Now, I like a lot of the things in mount mini games. I just hate that that's basically the only other mode besides the main party mode.
Yeah, and not only that, it kind of feels like when you go to mount mini games, really you just go to free play, because I feel like there isn't much point and like trying the other specific minigame modes, because I feel like most of the time what minigame you and your friends want to play, and you kind of just take turns selecting for the most part.
Yeah, unless you just want to go online and like stomp randos and like survival or like do daily challenges.
Yeah, but
yeah, like I'm a proponent of having like extra modes. Like Mario Party 5, I think, is the best Mario Party to do this. It's got a good game. It's got a good board game, but it also has a single player story mode. Now, whether that's good or bad is debatable, but it's got that. It's got great side modes: card party, super duel mode, the beach ball minigames. That's great, and it's got good minigame modes. Like decathlon. Why didn't we have a minigame decathlon here? That would have been so good.
Yeah, I would have. But like I said, just kind of a minor complaint from us. Like I said, we're getting these out of the way because ultimately we do think that the game's like amazing, fantastic, possible, best in the series.
Yeah, so I pretty much, for the most part, got my complaints about this game out of the way, except, well, maybe the lack of roster, but like that's
I think the limited roster kind of, especially considering we're coming off of 20 from Mario Party Super.
Yeah.
So we were hoping Superstars, maybe not exactly 20, but maybe you give us 12 or 14 even instead of just 10. We don't know if DLC is planned for the game. To be honest, I sincerely doubt it is, but
yeah, I doubt it. But like, if it is, you know where you'll hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But roster size is definitely a complaint. I think another complaint, as I said, I don't want to complain too much because like it feels really nitpicky for a game that's ultimately really incredible and everything we've been asking for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I think the coin economy, at least in terms of the way it's currently balanced, is just too much. I feel like coins, and it's mostly, once again, ties into lucky spaces. It's just too easy to come across loads and loads of coins.
Yeah.
And, like, I understand, again, you're making all the players feel like they're involved and whatnot.
Yeah, and I think item play is a big thing that NDQ was, like, striving for with this game.
Yeah. I think another thing, while we're talking about item play, is I feel like the shops need to have random selections of items again, instead of the concrete. This is what it is every time you show up here. Or at the very least, all the shops cycle items once every 5 turns.
Yeah, or make it kind of like Mario Party 3. Where, like, depending on the placement, that's what will be in your shop, like... Because in Mario Party 3, there's a set of items for each individual placement for the first 5 turns. For the mid game, and for the last 5 turns. I think
Yeah,
something like that would have been cool.
absolutely.
To better
So
help the item economy, because you don't really get to see, like, basically every game you're going to have your cursed dice blocks, you're going to have your mushrooms, you're going to have your double dice, you're going to have your triple dice, you may have your chomp calls, you may see a couple golden pipes, you may see a plunder chest.
yeah, but you're always going to see the custom dice blocks, the triple dice and whatnot. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
the thing
custom
is,
dice.
once you
Yeah.
see something like the warp pipe, everybody's going to go to the shop and buy a warp pipe every single time they go there. I feel like it makes traveling around the board to try to travel to get the star, it pretty much kind of takes it out of play entirely. And it becomes the big shot for warp pipe race.
Yeah,
And I don't think that's good for the game. But
yeah, absolutely.
that's just my nitpick. As I said, personally, I think the item shop should randomize every time a player walks in there. So, like, if you go in there, you can be incredibly lucky. I also think it should be factored on what place your character's in. So, if you're in first place, obviously your chances of getting a warp pipe or a boo call or something, or a boo bell, are, like, significantly lessened compared to, like, someone who's in third or fourth place.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Fix the coin economy a little bit, fix the items, and I think you've got probably some of the best board gameplay since 3.
Yeah. So, I guess now overall general review. I know we've, lavished this game with quite a bit of praise as well as hit it with some criticisms. I think to me, this is definitely the best Mario Party game since 6. In fact, I would argue, for me personally, I think it's the best Mario Party game since 3.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I think, 3 is my favorite Mario Party in the series, and I think this game is ultimately just too incredible on the minigame front for me to, like, really consider it versus, like, 3. I think this game's probably the best game in the series, actually. I'll just come out and say it. I think
Wow.
I just need the board gameplay to be a little bit better before I would consider it, like, overall better than 3. In terms of mini games, this game is by far the best in the series, and it's not close.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so for those of you who are on the fence about getting Mario Party Superstars, I would definitely recommend you buy it and you play it. It's very, very good. You honestly, you won't regret it. Like, I think for me, it's just seeing Mario Party at the level we've been asking for since the GameCube. Like, we've been through 3 generations of consoles since then.
Yeah.
And
The
like,
Wii, the Wii U, and now the Switch.
yeah, I feel like it's been like, when did Mario Party 6 come out? Like in the late 2000s?
God, I think Mario Party 6 was like a 2004-5 game?
Yeah,
Mario
mid
Party
2000s.
Yeah, Mario
But
Party 6 was 2004.
okay, so it has literally been more than a decade and a half. We're going on 2 decades since I would say the last really solid Mario Party game.
Well, that's
Insane.
this thing. Well, that's this thing 7, 8, and like DS. Those are those are like pretty decent.
It's funny. I think 7's at like the bottom of the list for people's favorite Mario Party. And
Oh,
the
wow.
actual thing. That's something I thought actually. I don't know. I think to me 6 was the last really good one, and then 7's where the decline really started.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, overall this game's absolutely fantastic and incredible, and we can't wait to play more of it. We'd recommend that you guys play it 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick it up. If you had to choose between the 2 Mario parties on Switch, pick up Superstars. If you want to play Super, get it at a discount. Get it at a discount, because it's not a bad Mario Party, but like, look at what we have here. We have Mario Party Superstars, and hopefully we get some DLC. But like Slade said earlier, I'm pressing X to doubt that we're getting more DLC.
Yeah, it's just not something the series has historically done. I think typically when they have new ideas, they put it into the a new game rather than an expansion, and I think that's just the mark of a lot of Nintendo's spin-off sports series and even spin-off games for their series overall. Not a
Yeah.
lot of their spin-offs get DLC outside of like the Warriors games and whatnot.
Or golf.
Yeah. Well, I guess Tennis Aces got
Well, it
DLC as
got
well.
free LC, but
Yeah. Well, free LC is still DLC.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, pick up Mario Party Superstars. I would only pick it up really if you have people to play with either locally or online. That's my caveat, basically.
Yeah, this is definitely a multiplayer game. There isn't a single player mode to really speak of that's like super good, kind of like a typical story mode or just
Or like a minigame island, or even kind of something like what Super had, like a
yeah.
minigame gauntlet mode, or what
Another caveat, because while yes, I believe you should have friends play this game with it, makes the gameplay experience that much more incredible. If you are somebody who's into speedrunning or into like really just mastering different types of activities and games, then I would also definitely recommend this. As I said, they do a fantastic job with the leaderboards for their minigames, and some of the most fun things to do in this game is to try for those records and to push yourself.
If you're a minigame fiend, pick this up.
Yeah, because as I said, this is definitely the best selection of minigames by far, and it's not close. So anyways, this has been Slade.
And this has been Byron. Thank you all for watching. We will see you all later.